You can have your nails done and feel like shit. You can get in the bath and cry your heart out, right? It's not going to make you feel better ultimately, because it's just an activity. If you're not really getting to the heart of what's going on and why you're feeling that way and really nurturing that inner teenager, then all of the actions that you take, like buying yourself flowers, it's not going to make a difference because you're still going to feel like shit. Hey everyone, Cheryl here. Welcome back to my YouTube machine. This week it is Valentine's Day on Thursday, so we are going to talk about what kind of things that brings up and ultimately some coping strategies for Valentine's Day, because it's a time when, if we're really not happy with being single, if we're always searching for our worth in another person, this is like peak time. This is like the Christmas day of the relationship world. Like, this is the day when everything happens, right? So we're going to talk about that, and I'm going to give you some coping strategies. Before I do, I just want to give you a bit of a story about how it used to be for me and how it is now. So all throughout, I would say my late teens, early 20s into my mid 20s, Valentine's Day would be this day when I just dreaded it. I absolutely dreaded it happening, and I knew I was going to feel like shit on the day, and it felt like I had no control over it, which obviously we know that's not true. We know we do have control, but it really felt out of control for me because it would trigger me so much that I went into this tailspin, and it was these stories of, no one wants me, no one's choosing me, when am I finally going to be chosen, all this shit, right? And let me know if that resonates with you, if that's something that you feel sometimes. And sometimes it's difficult to admit that, when we're adult, strong, independent career women, we don't want to think about those thoughts because we're a bit embarrassed, right? We're a bit embarrassed. We feel like it's a bit it feels almost adolescent, right? It feels adolescent, and it is. So we talk a lot about the inner child in psychology, and I'm sure you've heard it in therapy, but we don't talk about the inner teenager. And that's really what's going on here. So I would like you to cast your mind back to when you were at school. I don't know about you, but for me it was horrible. I don't really want to go back there, but I have many times in therapy, so we're going to go back there now. Cast your mind back to school. This is really important because when you're in your teens or preteens, tweens, whatever they call it, like let's say 12 through to about 16, so that real high school, secondary school age, this is when we're really figuring out who we are as an adult. So if that time is traumatic, it really, really impacts the rest of your adult life, until we do things like coaching, counseling, therapy, soul searching, journaling, contemplating, all of that, until we do that and we break the cycle. So cast your mind back to that time. What was that time like for you? In fact, you can journal this. Who was I as a teenager? What did I learn in my teenage years about me in love? Was I ever rejected at that time? How did that feel? And what did that make me believe about myself? And finally, how is that affecting me today? So journal on those questions, and I know I said that quickly, so you can pause, go back, write those down and journal on it. Because when we can get really clear on that, we understand where this is coming from. A lot of this is coming back from that time. So when we understand that, we can go back to that time and we can really heal that. So healing that can look like a lot of different things. It could look like coaching with someone like myself or another expert. It can look like counseling, therapy. It can look like lots of different things. So like journaling it out, just being with it, sitting it, allowing yourself to feel, allowing yourself to cry, moving your body, getting the emotions out of your body. The actual healing part can look like a lot of different things. It can look, sometimes the healing part is just simply acknowledging it, accepting it, and choosing to move on, right? If you've done a ton of therapy, you might not need to ruminate too much on that. You're like, okay, I know that happened. I know how it felt. I've accepted that. I've integrated it. I know what the lessons are, and I'm moving forward now. Like when you've done a lot of work on yourself, you can sometimes encounter these moments, like on Valentine's Day, where something's triggered and you go, oh, I know where that comes from. Well, I don't need to dwell on that. I've already done a lot of work around that. I can choose to move forward and not allow that to carry through to present day. So sometimes the healing part is just the awareness. Now, what you might find around this time, there's more and more information about Valentine's Day for single people, right? There's a bit of a revolution happening, which I love to see, and I wish that was the case 10 years ago when I really struggled with this. However, maybe I'm meant to be part of that kind of, that movement, if you like, if that's not too arrogant to say, part of that movement of helping people with this. So there is a bit of a revolution happening where there's more information about single people and Valentine's Day and how we can really take care of ourselves. There's a lot of brands that are jumping on board saying, you know, if you're single on Valentine's Day, you can get a free whatever. I mean, you're kind of selling your dignity for a free meal. Like I saw like Burger King doing it, get a free burger. And I'm like, honestly, I'm not sure how I feel about that. I mean, I'm vegan anyway. But the point is, there is a movement happening. What you might start to see though is a lot of the fluffy self-care stuff, and it's easy to get sucked into that and think, oh, well, if I just have a bubble bath and get my nails done on Valentine's Day, then everything will feel better. That's like fluffy self-care. It's like the icing on the cake, you know, it's surface level stuff. I'm not interested in surface level at all, because it doesn't work. You can have your nails done and feel like shit. You can get in the bath and cry your heart out, right? It's not going to make you feel better ultimately, because it's just an activity. If you're not really getting to the heart of what's going on and why you're feeling that way and really nurturing that inner teenager, then all of the actions that you take, like buying yourself flowers, it's not going to make a difference because you're still going to feel like shit. So if you've looked at a lot of that material in magazines, on blogs, on the Instagrams, wherever, and you've looked at it and you're like, this isn't working for me, therefore there's something wrong with me, stop. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just that we need to go deeper, right? With people like ourselves who have these relational wounds, it's really important that we go deep and understand where it came from. So that's the background. Now for some coping strategies. So if you followed that whole thing of, you know, have a bath, get your nails done, buy yourself flowers, and you're like, well, I just end up crying and feeling miserable and watching a rom-com and hating my life, then if that's the case, what we need to do is break the cycle. I have a program called Break the Cycle. It helps you with this. Nevertheless, we need to break the cycle on it. And how we do that is we do something different. We take a different action. So if what you usually do is follow all of that and you know, buy yourself flowers and still feel like shit and end up crying at home, then what can you do instead? What's a different action that you can take? And it might be going to therapy. It might be watching these videos. It might be journaling. It might be doing an inner child meditation or a connect to your heart meditation. I'm sure there is a heal your heart meditation on my channel somewhere. There's a bunch of meditations from early last year. They're really, really beautiful. So feel welcome to dig in there, or you can just search on the YouTube machine for inner child meditations or inner teenager. I don't know if there are any inner teenager meditations. If there's not, I shall produce one. So let me know if that would be helpful. But it's really breaking the cycle by taking a different action. It could be, you know, going out for a meal with your friends. It could be going to a personal development event or some kind of spiritual event, like something that's different, something that gets you around people, that helps you to feel that connection, which is really what it is that you're seeking. So that's how you break the cycle, is you take a different action, you do something different, and you also challenge yourself to really face this thing head on and figure out why it's hurting. It's like if you had a bad leg, like your leg kept hurting and you're like, oh, well, I'll just not put any weight on my leg, I'll just sit down. Well, no, it might be useful to find out, well, why is that leg hurting? Where did that pain come from? What caused that pain? So we can go back and we can then go to the physio or go to our GP and actually get some treatment for that so that the leg doesn't hurt anymore. It's a similar kind of thing. I know that's kind of a facetious example, but actually when it comes to healing our hearts and really gaining power over our dating drama and preparing for a romantic partnership, it's that very same work. It's about healing what hurts and understanding, well, where did this pain come from? Because once I know where it came from, then I can treat it effectively. Valentine's Day is a really difficult time for many of us. So just go really easy on yourself. You know, go really easy on yourself. Be gentle with yourself. Don't judge yourself. Just know that this can be difficult. So show the same compassion that you show to other people. Show that to yourself, you know, and do what you can. Do what you can and really nourish yourself, and remember to do something different this year than what you've done in previous years. I'm actually, I got the inspiration to host a Take Your Power Back Valentine's Day event. I'm hosting that on my Instagram. So if you're watching this before Valentine's Day, then certainly go over to my Instagram machine for the details of when that is taking place. And you can join me live, and I'm going to help you, talk you through all these things. We'll probably do a meditation, like an inner teenager meditation on the call. I'll be on the live stream. I'll be answering your questions as well, and really just giving you some support, because I know it is a really, really tough time. If you're watching this after Valentine's Day, more than likely I'll pop it on the YouTube machine anyway, so that you have it forever and you can watch it then. I hope this helped you. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next week.